All right, it's 6:30, so we'll get started with our recruitment forum. Welcome to all of our prospective officials, and we do have a number of veteran officials from a number of high school sports joining us tonight as well. So they're happy to help you with questions and concerns that you might have. So again, welcome. We're going to have a few speakers kind of speak to their experience with officiating high school sports and why it's a benefit to them and why we would encourage you to give it a try. But the first step is to be on here tonight, and we're glad that you're able to join us. Before we get too far down the road, I'm going to have Laura Mockentune, our Director of Technology with the league, is going to talk about some logistics and housekeeping pieces before we kick off for the evening. So, Laura?
Great. Good evening, everyone. And again, thanks for joining us. Just a few beginning things to get us started. Our agenda you'll see in front of you, and we'll come back to that shortly. We're going to spend some time just with some logistics and then moving through some material for tonight. In my advanced.
I just muted everybody, Laura, so you're muted too. Unless we lost her. There she is.
If possible, that you would keep your cameras on. It's a great opportunity for us to use a little bit of body language to keep our presentations moving. Would ask that you keep your microphone muted, which is what we just had. Somebody didn't, so we quickly muted everyone to keep the meeting moving ahead. Please have the chat window open. It's a great place to have a secondary conversation going on during the meeting tonight. Jason shared that there are a number of veteran officials on here, so if you are looking for a specific sport or some specific information, likely someone from the league or MYAS or even another official can jump in and answer those questions. So please keep that chat window open. And then a number of resources, and I will drop these in the chat here as we get going today, but places that you'll want to know and be familiar with. One is on our state high school league website. There is a button of Who Are You? That takes you to officials information. And underneath that, there's an official spot. MYS on their website likely also has a spot that will take you to a number of resources. We do have a page that was created just for tonight that'll talk you through the agenda, but then also gives you a little bio of some of the people that are going to speak tonight. So I'll drop that in also. Again, Jason's going to talk a lot about, and so are some of the others, about making connections and finding other people to work with, mentor with, and be mentored by. So having some of these resources will be very helpful. So I'll drop these into chat. But again, cameras on if you would be so kind, mute, and please use the chat. Jason, I'll throw it back to you.
Perfect, Laura. To start tonight, I'm going to have Tim Layton, who is my colleague at the Minnesota State High School League and also a 30-year basketball official, speak about his experience as an official and why he would recommend that you give this avocation a try. So Tim's a great advocate for officials and for high school league activities, and happy to have him presenting here tonight. So Tim, take it away.
All right, very good. And thank you much, Jason. It's terrific to partner with you and the MYAS and my other league colleagues in being able to bring this officiating recruitment forum to you. Additional welcome just from me, and it's truly an honor and a privilege to be with you this evening as you learn more about navigating those initial steps into officiating. Now, you've made that important first decision to pursue officiating as an avocation. We congratulate you. We applaud you for that. What an incredible first step that is for you. In similar fashion to someone deciding to run a marathon for the very first time, after that excitement and the affirmation of the decision has settled down some, it could be replaced by some anxiousness and perhaps an overwhelming sense of what now? What next? That might be a common theme that each and every one of you might be feeling right now. And I'm here to tell you that that's okay. That's perfectly natural as you sit and gather information this evening. Many of us began our officiating journeys in that exact same way. So we circle back to that question again. What next? You've gotten yourself to this next step by participating in this officiating forum. Perhaps you've already registered with the Minnesota State High School League, which of course is another incredibly first step. But to keep the momentum and the excitement going, we continue to move forward in our preparations because, like all strong officials, we are on top of things. We stay sharp. One of the big things that you're going to learn tonight in your officiating journey is establishing connections. You've already started that process by being here. I'd like you to take a moment to take a look around at your screen and remember some of the names that you see here. It is a strong bet that you will someday work with someone else in this meeting at some point in your officiating journey. That common bond that you will share, that established connection, will always be is that you began your journey together in this recruiting forum. I'd like to share just an anecdote with you about sharing connections. Years ago, when I first started with the league, I was invited to be a guest speaker at a sportsmanship summit for top seniors of the Metro East Conference. Now, during this leadership summit, I used some officiating analogies as it relates to establishing connections. It included connecting with activities administrators, which you will do when it comes to an assignment. I talked about establishing connections with site administrators, which you will once you arrive on site to do a game. And once your contest is started, I also talked about making connections with coaches once that game has started. Now, during part of the presentation, I took off my league jacket to reveal that I was wearing a basketball referee shirt and I had a whistle around my neck. Now, in the front, there was a young man from Hillmurray, and he had instant recognition. And I remember this fondly. He bellowed so that everybody could hear. He says, "Now I remember you. You called a foul on me this past season." Everyone laughed, and I must admit, so did I. So what did I do? I had a whistle around my neck. I blew that whistle, and I called another foul on him right then and there from the stage. Again, there was plenty of laughter. But you know what? A connection was made. Afterward, he came up and apologized to me if he was being disrespectful. And I said that was no problem. I now remember him more for the apology than I do for that foul. Later in that same summit, another anecdote to share. I conducted an exercise in making connections. I softly tossed 6 tennis balls into the audience. Now, these students were all sitting in their own separate pack by schools, and it wasn't designed that way. It was designed to be more integrated. Now, I instructed the students to pick a student from another school to softly toss that tennis ball to. All of a sudden, the smiles and the bitter rivalries that these schools may have had suddenly disappeared because they were forgotten, because those students made connections by throwing a tennis ball softly to a student from another school. Now, one particular connection sticks out. A young man from Simley High School lobbed the ball to a young female student from Henry Sibley High School. Their eyes locked, and after she caught the ball, it turned out to be a special connection. They ended up going to one another's senior prom together, and I'm not sure what happened after that, but they made a connection by that. Moving on, in officiating, establishing professional connections is going to continue. You may not use tennis balls like you did there, but you will use so many tools that you have at your disposal. One of those I mentioned it earlier, is registering with the Minnesota State High School League. That connects you with thousands of officials, clinicians, and administrators that want to see you succeed. Joining a local association, that's also instrumental in your growth as an official and your avenue to being assigned games. That is a crucial piece to establishing connection. Creating a connection with your assigner, that's also critical. They care about your growth. They want to make sure that they put you in positions that you will succeed. They want to make sure that your journey through officiating is steady but strong. Now, training and mentorship, you're going to hear that term quite a bit. That will be crucial for your successful officiating journey. Establishing those connections along the way is going to help guide that successful journey. And finally, on this slide, networking. That's another term we hear not only in the professional world, but also in this avocation of officiating. Networking with others in your associations is an important step in keeping relationships strong through officiating. The important thing, my friends, is to be patient. Creating those connections doesn't happen at the click of your fingers or the toot of your whistle. Your success, it's going to come. Believe me, it does. Everybody's on their own certain path. Everybody has their own certain timing pattern. But I can assure you, your success will come. Have a healthy and positive attitude about that journey, and good things are going to happen. Use these established connections, and good things are going to happen. Attend clinics, listen to your mentors, ask questions, and by golly, say yes. Say yes as often as possible to any officiating opportunities that come your way. And finally, I leave with stick with it. Keep smiling and have fun. That's what this avocation is all about. And I wish you the best of luck as you embark on this journey of yours. And on behalf of the Minnesota State High School League, the MYAS, and all those who believe in you as you begin your journey, welcome aboard. We can't wait. We are thrilled to have you with us and join us side by side on this officiating journey. Thanks, everyone, and good luck to all.
Thanks, Tim. As you can tell, Tim's very passionate about officiating and all the benefits that it's brought to him, both personally and professionally, and really appreciate his willingness to give back to the avocation, whether it's training or mentorship or through avenues such as this forum. So thank you, Tim. Our next voice is going to be Maddie Helget. She's a volleyball and basketball official in the Twin Cities here, formerly from Southwest Minnesota. She's going to speak to officiating and what it's brought to her personal life, what she enjoys about officiating, why she keeps coming back, to give you a flavor of someone outside of the high school league or MYS footprint that can give you their voice on why officiating is so important to them in their life. So, Maddie.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending this forum and your interest in officiating high school sports. Hopefully this meeting and the testimonies of the current officials encourages you to take the next step instead of running in the other direction. Like Jason said, my name is Maddie Helget, and I've been a high school league official for 7 years now. Like Jason said, I officiate both volleyball and basketball. After my playing days, my dad, who has been an official for many years, encouraged me to give officiating a try as a way to stay involved and give back to the sports that have given so much to me. I won't sugarcoat it. Those first few seasons were tough. I started out doing Saturday morning youth basketball tournaments, and those parents can be brutal. Many times I'd drive home, and sometimes even during the game, I'd ask myself why in the world I woke up early and drove half an hour to get yelled at while trying to balance making the game fun and productive for a group of 8-year-olds who don't get what a travel is, let alone that they're committing it. And sometimes I still think this during a varsity game, but everyone has those nights. I promise I'll get more positive. So I guess a fair question would be, well, then why did you stick with it? And why do you still do it? And there are 3 major reasons. First one is relationships. The veteran officials that I've had the pleasure working alongside have made a huge impact on my officiating career. I've met incredible people and value the camaraderie and friendships that I've developed because of joining the officiating ring. The post-game gatherings are sometimes the best part of the night. I'm so grateful to have my dad as a sounding board and mentor. It was and still is so important to have someone who has gone through the same things and is now one of the most respected high school and college officials in the state as a resource to ask questions and discuss game scenarios that I've encountered. The high school league and officiating associations that you'll join do an excellent job of assigning new officials a mentor to do just that. Be a sounding board, give advice, and reassure you that you are not insane for signing up for this. Second reason I keep doing this, paying it forward. I leave way more games feeling accomplished than discouraged. This job is not easy, but the reward is worth the challenge. It isn't about being in a position of power or always being right and the coaches and players are in the wrong. In the end, we're all trying to grow the game because they have given so much to us. I still look back so fondly on my playing days, and while I know I did not give any thought to the officials that called my games, I know that I wouldn't have gotten to play if they didn't do what they did. And the last reason, it's a side hustle. Not many side jobs pay you to get some exercise and be part of a competitive sporting event. It's obviously not all about the money, but it also isn't a bad thing to have some extra cash to help pay off student loans, go on a trip, or cover your bar tab. There were and still are growing pains for me, but the time has flown by and I can't believe I'm entering my 8th season. I've learned a lot about myself and I'm proud of how far I've come the last few seasons. I was fortunate enough to officiate my first basketball state tournament this past season and have hopes to earn a spot back there this coming season. So if you're considering becoming an official, I highly encourage you to do so. Give it a shot. There are so many sports to get involved with. It's not a job that's situated for everybody, but you never know unless you try. And if you decide that this isn't for you, that's okay too. Maybe just think twice next time you feel like yelling at an official, especially if they're new. Officials are there so that athletes can play a sport and make some memories. We work hard to know our stuff and get the calls right. We're humans and we're doing our best, so if you have anything to say to an official, make sure it's thank you. Hopefully my testimony has encouraged you to take the next step and give officiating a try. And the biggest piece of advice I can offer is to stick with it. You may not find immediate success and you'll probably have to grind through some adversity, especially the first few seasons, but I promise it's worth it. Thanks.
Thanks, Maddie. You're the best. Good thing I ran into you at the Twins game and convinced you to do a repeat performance. So Maddie is Maddie's a great example of what can happen when you have the support and you have someone that is there to be with you when you have some tough times in officiating, and you see what happens when you have that mentorship and that relationship and how beneficial that is. And that's something that Tim talked about with associations and just experienced officials being there to pay it forward, as Maddie said. That's what every official in the high school league, in college, it doesn't matter the level. They've all had somebody who has helped them get to where they're at, and so critical to have that kind of relationship. So appreciate all the experienced officials who are on this call as well, because that's what they're trying to do as well. So thanks, Maddie. Appreciate your great message. We're gonna transition here and talk about just some steps and benefits of high school league registration and eligibility as an official, and talk about Minnesota Youth Athletic Services and some of the pieces that they provide with their program. So normally I present this with Brett Carlson. He's the community education director with North Branch Public Schools. He's really a positive person, someone that has encouraged us to get this information out to the community and get more people involved in officiating. And he's never been an official himself. He was an activities director at one time, but he just is really passionate about trying to help high school league activities and programs and youth programs get more officials. And so he can't make it on here tonight, but I just wanted to throw out my appreciation for Brett and his willingness to keep us going on this journey of recruitment and retention. So thanks to Brett for all of his work. So the high school league officials program, I'm the coordinator, the director of the program, and then Pam and then as Tim as well, and Laura and other folks in the office that support our officiating program are just really critical to the success of what we do. And we also have regional and state supervisors, coordinators that are specific to their sport or they're part of the state that support our associations and our individual officials. We have over 100 unique associations across the state that service just about every sport. And then the charter clinicians are the leadership from those respective associations, and then observers that help get out and watch officials and help them improve. So quite a group that are all devoted to making your career as an official the best that it can be. And this is typically the slide that Brett takes, but there's a number of benefits to becoming an official, whether it's at the youth level or at the high school level. Number one is relationships. Tim talked about that. Maddie talked about that. In my case, several members of my wedding party were officials that I had worked with, and still stay in touch with them to this day. And as Maddie said, some of the best times are going out and having an appetizer and a beverage with your crew or with other officials from other games. And those are people that you'll have lifelong connections with. Giving back, paying it forward. Maddie talked about that. Just trying to give kids an opportunity to play. And that's what we're trying to do at the high school level, knowing that many of us also had that great experience at the high school level. And fitness is obviously a good thing. I found when I cut back on basketball that if I wasn't as devoted to fitness, that I didn't quite have the same physical fitness that I had when I was officiating basketball. So it is a great benefit to have. And lifelong skill development is something where you take skills from officiating, you can translate those over to your professional life, your personal life. There are many skills that you use at work or with your family or with whatever it happens to be that also will serve you very well in officiating, and vice versa. So really a good opportunity for you to learn how to handle some adversity, because there will be some challenges. Not everyone's going to agree with every call you make. And so how do you work with those people to explain, here's the decision I made. I may have made a mistake, but I made the decision for this reason, and we're going to move forward. And how do you handle those conflict management pieces that will serve you well in other walks of life? And then obviously we don't do it for the money, but it certainly is a nice benefit. Especially for our young people, it's an opportunity to make a pretty decent amount of money that is flexible to your schedule. Coaching is great, for example, but you have to be at practice every day of the week. And sometimes you have video review and coaches meetings and parent meetings and other things that come up. And officiating is just really flexible to meet your schedule. If you're available on Tuesdays and Fridays, then that's when you can work. If you want to work every day, you can work every day. There's plenty of opportunities for people to work however they want, whenever they want. But with that comes an opportunity, to make some money that, as Maddie said, you can apply to a trip or pay down loans. Or in my case, when I was a junior in high school, I paid the earnest check for my parents' house, the one they still live in. And I had an opportunity to do that as a junior because I had been officiating when I was in high school and had an opportunity to make some money and put it away. So it does provide some great opportunities for people that way. I'm going to turn it over to Tony Schrepfer and Carolyn Dirksen. Now they're with the Minnesota Youth Athletic Services. And they're going to talk about the MYAS and some of the pieces that they do and the benefits of joining their organization. And they'll talk about kind of the dual registration piece and how that might be a benefit to you as you try to get experience in officiating. Tony?
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. Tony Schrepfer, director of officials at the MYAS. Yeah, we're like the stepping stone for brand new officials, right? And we've, joined partnership with the Minnesota State High School League to have this first stepping stone where we're working with, third to eighth grade student athletes. We cover basketball and baseball are two main sports. We're getting into football. We have some wrestling, swim meet, a couple other things. So it's a great opportunity for you to start at a lower level. And when you do register with the Minnesota Youth Athletic Services, you'll get an opportunity to work with some of the veteran officials on lower level games. So we'll start you out in third, fourth grade games and, show you the ropes a little bit with basketball. I'm speaking more of basketball. Our baseball umpires, they have to be just 3 years older than the group that they're umpiring. We have extensive in-person training that I conduct, and a lot of veteran officials that work for the high school league, they're also part of our training and our evaluation process. So we are moving forward with joining Arbiter Sports, so we're on the same platform as the Minnesota State High School League. Jason mentioned that, and being dual registered is a great way to give yourself that next avenue, right? If you work in the youth stuff for a couple of years and you're like, hey, I think I'm ready to take that step to do some freshman and JV games and maybe find your way into a varsity game. That's kind of how I got my first gig. I was working a lower level high school game, and one of the officials for the varsity game didn't show up. And Dan Roth, he was the athletic director at the time. He said, can you stay and do this game? You're registered. Well, yeah, that's how I got my first break. And that was I've been an official for over 30 years. So I've done multiple sports, but it's important to have a good starting place. This coming fall, we'll have our basketball training. So there's going to be an online portion that you'll take all your certifications, your concussion module and background checks and taking your test. And then we're going to have a on-court evaluation for our returning officials. And we'll also have a training portion for brand new officials. You'll have to pick one of the sites. We're going to have sites all over the city, from like Stillwater to Shakopee. We're going to have some in the metro area just as well, like immediate metro area. And it's just an opportunity for you guys to get your toes wet, right? So it's lower level, and Maddie touched on a little bit, right? Some of those lower level games that can get pretty intense with the parents, and that's how you learn conflict resolution and how to deal with people and all those other things. So again, if you're brand new, MYS is a great place to start, and we'll definitely get you, get your feet wet and get your feet on the ground just as well. So you're ready to, when you do want to make that transition to the State High School League. Jay, you want to switch that screen to the next one if you could? And we'll talk about our registration process again. So again, we talked about it. We work 2nd through 8th. We have our trusted officials education platform is where you'll do all your training and screening. And it's more focused on the youth sports, right? You are going to have that continuing education throughout the year. And we are in partnership with the high school league. So anytime you get that opportunity to dual register, which you should, you're going to learn more just as well, because they're going to give a lot more education just as well on their end. Again, it's a great starting point for all officials. If you know the game, it's going to be a lot better, but we can help train for those that don't know the game. And it's a lot of fun, really. I know, a few people already talked about it, and that's the camaraderie and getting up and down. And, myself, I'm kind of a seasonal official. I work whatever season's going on just because that's what we did as kids, right? It's fall, we played either football or soccer, and in the winter we did basketball, and in the spring and summer we did baseball. I'm just coming off of a pretty long spring and summer baseball season. So it's kind of August is my break time just before soccer starts. So I'll be getting into that just as well. I don't know, Carolyn, you want to speak on behalf of what we got going on just as well? I'm going to share some screen time with you too.
Thank you. And I know that a lot of you also are maybe hearing that, some sports that we may not service, but we definitely, with our connection with the Minnesota State High School League and other sports that we do, like for an example, soccer, I know is one that we don't service at this time. We can find ways to get you connected and to get started. And at MYS, we want to really focus on the education and also the recruitment side. I know we've been also going out to local high schools as well to promote it to high school athletes as just a way to give them a different perspective of the game, but then also just to show how much fun we have. And I think if a lot of you are kind of listening in, I mean, that's the common theme. We have so much fun getting to do this. And I think it's just a great way to give back to games that you've played. And, we can definitely be that first step to help you guys get started.
And I also wanted to touch base for the veteran officials that come down and help us at the youth level, right? So with us joining Arbiter, we're going to be able to get away with having duplicate processes on the educational side. So if a high school official wants to work some of our youth stuff, all their training that they have, the concussion, the background testing, all that stuff will transfer over into our system. You'll have to register with the MYS, but it'll only be a $15 registration fee, and that just pays for housing you in Arbiter Sports because there's a cost for that. So for the varsity or the veteran high school guys, if obviously we want some of you guys to come on down and work with some of our new officials, because that's where you're going to get the best training, is when you work with somebody that's been out there and knows the ropes. So that's also a plus for the joining the dual registration. And Jason, when I took over, when I got the job, I called Jason right away and we met. We had really good meetings, and we came with, the conclusion that, hey, let's work together. That way we can build both of our brands. And the high school league has done a great job. Again, I've been with the high school league for quite a while, and I enjoy just being an official. Again, it gives you that opportunity to give back. And, Jason talked about it. I know when he quit doing basketball, because there's that little bit of lull before or after each season that, hey, I can go ahead and have some extra helping at dinner, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, because my pants don't fit really. They're kind of tight when I start the basketball season, but come January, they're right on me and we're going. So again, it's a great opportunity. Jay, I don't know what that next slide is. I can't remember what that next slide is for us. I don't know if there's anything else we need to touch base on. Yeah, and we have assigners all throughout the metro area. So if if you live in, Shakopee or Matamidi or, it could be Monticello, we have assigners within all those that will get you an opportunity to get some work. Again, right now, we're just finishing up our GSTC, big baseball tournament all month long. It's been great. I know Saturday kind of was a bummer with the rain, but we got through it and got all the games in. So again, we're here to help. We're also going to be building a program where for officials that are brand new, they're kind of like, I don't really know if I want to do this because the startup costs, and especially for baseball umpires, startup costs, is anywhere from $200 to $400 for a full uniform. We're going to build a program where we're going to help pay for part of that fee, right? You're going to register. We'll get you a code that'll take you down to General Sports. When you get there, you can just pick all your stuff up, and there won't be any fee for you. So we're working on that inside of MYAS right now, because we just started our foundation, which will help out immensely. And again, just dual register. It makes sense, because then when you do get that opportunity, you'll be registered and you won't have to worry about trying to register to get a game the next day. They're like, are you registered? Yep. Hey, can you come and do this freshman game? We'll put you with a veteran official, and you'll go from there. And that's how a lot of us got that next step. We're always just in the right spot at the right time. And that's sometimes how it is. Sometimes it's lucky, and you're going to get better. Again, you will get good at being an official. Just put in the work. Again, hustle, have fun, smile, know the rules, all those things that make a good official, really. I mean, it's your presentation when you walk out onto the court or the field. And then you move from there. Have great communication with the coaches and players. And, when you see a player make a great play when they're coming off, hey, 12, that was a great catch. I mean, those things go a long way. And I know some of the officials are like, well, what about the fans? They're sitting in there screaming. If you know who the fan belongs to, you can just walk over to the coach in between an inning and say, hey, do me a favor. Can you help out with the person back there wearing the red shirt? They're just kind of, they're starting to get a little loose. So if you can help me out, coach, that would be great. And most of the time they're going to respond to that really well. And then, if not, use the tools that are on your belt, right? That's what, I know Jason says that often. Let's use the tools that we have. So, other than that, yeah, by all means, reach out. Carolyn and I are always available at the MYAS. You can ask us any questions. Again, I do multiple sports. Carolyn touched base on that. I do soccer, and I know like 3 or 4 different soccer centers that you can get games from, and even in the summertime. And I know a bunch of you guys probably do that, but so again, we're here just to help and navigate you through this journey, and it's a fun journey. It really is. My journey's taken me to the summit in Denver next weekend, so that's going to be fun. That's going to be more networking and learning from others throughout the country. So that's going to be one of those, another milestone that is just going to be fun to go to and hang out, learn some stuff from people. So, yeah, other than that, Jay, yeah, I don't know.
All right. Thanks, Tony and Carolyn. They did mention that, they have basketball and baseball are kind of their primary sports at the MYS, but they have connections either through them personally or through the league and other association groups that can assist you with any sport that the league has. And we have 18 sports that have officials at the league, and we can put you in touch with an association, with a leader, with someone in your sport and in your part of the state. So if you're in Duluth, we can find somebody to help you. If you're in Bemidji, we can find somebody to help you. So it's not, we happen to be based in the Twin Cities, but we have connections all over the state that can assist you with whatever sport that you're interested in working. All right. So at the league, Tony and Carolyn talked about the MYS and some of the pieces that they do at the league. Always trying to promote officiating as something that is fun and something you would enjoy doing. And we really do believe that. Yeah, there are instances where, parents or spectators might be a little rambunctious, but I would tell you for the most part at the high school level, our ADs and principals and superintendents do a good job of having a good environment for everybody. And it's not just for the officials, it's for the kids and the coaches. And there's some accountability there. So know that they're going to do their very best to provide a good environment for you, because they flat out, they need officials, and they're going to do what they can to make it a good experience. We register and observe officials that are within our programs. We do extensive work on training and development, either through us or through the associations. We're that connection to those associations. So if you need support there, we help you with that. And then we assign state tournament officials. During the regular season, roughly 70% of our assignments across the state are assigned by associations, and the other 30% officials get contracts on their own from the member schools. As I just talked about, we teach the fundamentals of contest rules, mechanics, and communication so that you can be successful. And we do that through online rules presentations, training clinics, and then we try to work with training and development throughout the season. And then we're going to connect you with experienced officials, because officiating is pretty similar to other jobs, avocations, where if you don't have that support system, in the first couple of years, you're probably not going to stick it out, because there will be a game that doesn't go as well. And it's helpful to talk to somebody about that, and they can help you, do it better the next time. And the more training and more experience that you get, the higher likelihood that games will go well, which means you'll have fun and you'll want to do it more. So we feel that that's an important piece. Recognizing officials is a key aspect of what we do. Our schools are really good about trying to recognize officials. If you're looking to, it looks like it is Minnesota. So if you want to ref football, snow looks like a possibility. Also, it's Minnesota, so officiating a track meet, snow is a possibility. But I would tell you that all these people have something in common, and that they enjoy what they do and giving back to the sports that they play. And here's several examples of pieces that we use to promote officiating. Laura mentioned this earlier, the Officiating Recruitment portal. So if you go to the league's website, you can find all sorts of information about officiating that you can share with others and review yourself. But everything that we do for our officials, including testing, meetings, registration, so forth, is all on Arbiter. We'll talk about that in a sec. We have 6,000 officials across the state. So quite a number of you, but we need more. There's more and more teams, more and more games all the time. And so 6,000 may seem like a lot, and it is. If every official worked 4 or 5 nights a week, we'd have no problem. But, you know, people have family, and they have work, and they have other commitments, and they can't do it that often. And so 6,000 becomes a pretty thin number, you know, when you're talking about the number of games and contests that are out there. So really important to get more people involved and help train and develop them. If you're ready to register with us, and Tony and Carolyn talked about with the MYS, you'll go to arbitersports.com and you can register that way. You can also get to that link via our league's website, and hopefully Pam or Laura can put that link in the chat so you have that handy when you're ready to go ahead and register with us. We can connect you with an association either tonight or anytime in the future. Happy to help you with connections with either an association or a mentor. Fees, we'll talk about that here in another slide, but pretty nominal for new officials, because as Tony talked about, we know that you have some startup costs, and we're trying to assist you with that. The requirements to work varsity contests are general officials module, so it talks about general information. There's a sports specific meeting, so that talks about rule changes, points of emphasis in your sport. Then you take an exam. The exam is open book, 80% to pass, and we encourage you to take that with a veteran official to help you through that. Concussion module required by state law, and then a background check. And then you're eligible to work varsity contests if you complete those pieces. And here's the registration page. So this will look like when you go register. Again, hopefully that's in the chat for you to see. $30 for sport 1 for brand new officials, and same in year 2. And then if you officiate a second or third sport, it's $15 for each sport after that. And that covers rule book, insurance, and other materials, training clinics. There is an additional cost for those things. If you want to get other pieces like Simplified and Illustrated, Rules by Topic, which are books that go into more detail on the rules, and Simplified and Illustrated is what it is. It's not quite a picture book, but it does provide a lot more visuals to help you to learn the rules. But those are pieces that you can purchase in addition to the rule books and the things that you receive from us. The background check, it's required for all officials, and then we recheck officials every 5 years. That's why your birth date and social security number are required when you register, so that we can run that background check. And you wouldn't be able to work a varsity contest till you have that completed. We usually run those like 2 weeks before the season starts. And then the concussion course, we talked about that being a state law, so can't get around that. You have to take it once every 3 years. The concussion module is available now, so if you registered today, you'd be able to watch it. And then at the end of this school year, we're going to reset everyone. So that means that starting next school year, everyone will have to retake the concussion module, and then you wouldn't have to take it again for another 3 years after that. As for the rules presentation and the exam, every official has to take a general officiating online module once a year. And it's on Arbiter. It's a video, you just click it and it will play. That will be available for this year starting next week. Each sport has its own online module, and that's available roughly 2 weeks before the season starts. And so you have that 2-week span to watch that module. And then, as I mentioned earlier, every sport has an exam, and it's anywhere from 30 to 100 questions. Most of them are 55 questions now with some video questions. And you can use your rule book, and we encourage you to work with a mentor. New officials find out that they really didn't know the rules quite as well as they thought when they were a player or when they were a spectator, when they take that first exam. So, it's a good piece for new officials to really dig deep into the rule book and help you as you get through that first year. And I'll tell you, you'll never really get all the rules down. You'll always be learning. And you'll make mistakes. All the rules I know are ones I screwed up, and so I know a vast majority of the rules now because I've screwed up most of them. So that's how that works. You get your nose in the book, you make mistakes, and then you just don't make that same mistake twice. Preseason, we will mail all new officials a rules book, a case book, or a mechanics illustrated document, depending on the sport, and then any other rule changes and general league info will either be sent to you in that packet, or it'll be available on Arbiter to download, and you can print as you need. We talked about the 6,000 officials. This is kind of how it's broken down. You see that it says, roughly 8,000 or so at the bottom. That just means that they're officials that work more than one sport. So Tony, as he mentions, works soccer, basketball, and baseball. So he would be counted 3 times in this document. So we have 6,000 unique officials, and then roughly 2,000 officials or so work more than one sport. So that's how it's broken down, as you can see on the screen. We at the league provide training and development opportunities in all of these sports. But if you're talking about lacrosse or dance team, for example, those sports do a great job of training their officials through their associations. And so we don't do training and curriculum for those sports because the associations do such a great job. So between us, and it doesn't mean the associations and the other sports don't, the ones listed on the screen, they do a great job too. We just try to supplement what they do to assist you in your training and development. To do that, we have weekly training, video training in football and basketball, looking at other trainings in wrestling, soccer, gymnastics, and any other sport where we can get video training and memorandums out to you during the season to help with your development. Because that's going to be a way that you're really going to learn, is by watching video, either of yourself or of someone else. That's how we learn, by watching other people's mistakes, or watching people do things really well. And that's how we learn and get better. 18 activities that have officials, and we have approximately 35 clinics a year that we run, in addition to what the associations provide. 100 unique officials associations. So we might have an association that just covers dance team, of which we only have one, but then we have maybe 30 associations that cover basketball, and then maybe 15 that cover baseball, and then you have several that cover more than one sport. Especially in the Twin Cities area, Rochester, St. Cloud, Duluth, Fargo, Moorhead, you're going to find Mankato, you're going to find associations that cover multiple sports, but they're really, really critical and crucial to helping officials get better and get assignments, get games, so you can get more experience and get better. So you don't have to join an officials association. It's not required, but we certainly recommend it for new officials so that they can help you with all the pieces of becoming an official, knowing it can be challenging to get started. Tony talked about this, the equipment, uniforms, there is a cost of that. If you're talking about hockey and basketball, talking about a little bit more in the equipment side of things. If you're talking about say basketball, you're talking about a pair of pants, a shirt, and some shoes and some black socks. And so it kind of varies on the sport, but general sports in Edina or your associations can help you with discounts or donations or those kind of things to get started. Insurance is part of your registration fee. NASO is a separate piece. So that's the National Association of Sports Officials. So if you have an interest with them, they produce Referee Magazine. They support officials across the country. That's the summit that Tony was talking about earlier that we will be attending this weekend. A good organization for you to connect with if you have an interest there. But as part of the high school league, and this is a reason that registering with us, even if you're only going to work youth, is really a good benefit. You're going to get a rule book, case book, access to training, but you also get this insurance, which is supplemental to your primary insurance, but it covers you to and from any contest or during any contest or any officiating related event. If you were to unfortunately get in a car accident on the way to a game, you'd be covered by this insurance. So even if it's not a high school league event, if it's an MYAS event, you'd be covered. If it's a youth event of a sport we sanction, you'd also be covered. So I know insurance is not something we think of often until we need it. Just wanted you to know that this is a benefit that we have of being an eligible or a registered official with the league. And then once you do all those pieces, it's time to get out and work. Work a scrimmage. It helps you adjust to the speed, because that first time you work, it is going to be like they're going 1,000,000 miles an hour. And you'll find that as you get more experience, that will really slow down for you as you see more games, see more plays. Veteran officials will be there to help you, and they won't just leave you after scrimmages. They're going to be there for you the whole year. So Tim said it earlier, find a way to say yes. Work as many games as you can with your schedule. That's the way you get better. You're going to make mistakes in those games, but that's okay. That's how we adjust, and get better the next time. And when we get better and improve, then we get yelled at less in theory, and we have more fun, and then we want to keep doing it. So just really encourage you to work as many games or contests as you can, and go to games and contests. Find a mentor, go watch them work, ask them questions. That's how all of us got better in this avocation. So that's kind of an overview of the high school league's officiating program. We're really happy that all of the new prospective officials, and then also our veteran officials from across the state and across the spectrum of sports, were able to make it on tonight. Please contact the league's office. We will help you get started, get you connected with associations, whatever you need, help you with uniforms. Please call us. Don't feel overwhelmed and feel, that feeling that you can't do it. Call us. We will help you. We'll get you in touch with somebody who will assist as well. Same with Minnesota Youth Athletic Services. Please call them if you have questions. They're happy to help you. Please connect with them or us, and we will get you in touch with an association, a mentor, someone to help you regardless of the sport. And it doesn't matter what part of the state. We can assist you as you get started in your officiating journey. So thanks for taking that first step and spending an hour with us tonight. Hopefully this is just the first step in many in your officiating career, and hopefully 10 years from now, several of you are on here in that veteran capacity, trying to encourage others to follow in your footsteps. So we will stay on here for another, few minutes, whatever it takes. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat, or you can unmute or whatever. Otherwise, we will call the night, and we look forward to seeing you guys out on the field, court, ice, pitch, whatever it happens to be this year.
Jason, our officials and others have done a great job of jumping in and answering questions. But if you want to take a peek through the chat, and Tony, Carol, and probably also just some things about the sequence and the order of doing things and how associations play in. And it's kind of that somewhat of a confusing timeline, maybe the first year that you get into officiating and who to talk to first and how to get moving on some of those.
Yep. So there's a question about associations. And so associations have a leadership structure. They typically have bylaws and language that helps govern how they work. And they're really there to help support and train and develop and nurture all of their officials, not just new officials, but all the officials that are within their group. And then many of them also assign contests. Not all of them do, but many of them do. And they will assign you to contests and put you on games or events with an experienced official who can help you. And they're really good about that. Assigners have a really tough job. It's not one that I want. But they do a great job of putting officials in position to be successful. They're not going to throw you on Wayzata Minnetonka the first night out. They're going to put you on a game or on contests that make sense and with partners that will help you. So they typically have a membership due structure, and that helps pay the assigner or pay for training or some of those kind of things. But you'll find that associations are really a beneficial group to be a part of, regardless of the part of the state and regardless of the sport. So would really encourage, and all of our associations are listed on the league's website under the officials portal. You can find all of them listed there, as well as what sports they cover and what part of the states that they cover. There's a question about payment. So in the Twin Cities area, all of the schools have to pay the same rate. I don't have all the rates for every sport in front of me, but the schools are contracted to pay that particular rate. And in the outside the metro, or in some sports that travel outside the metro area, those kind of fees are negotiated either with the association directly or with the officials directly, depending on the sport and who gets the contract. Once the game is completed, most schools right now do vouchers and send you a check. We're seeing more and more schools go the direct deposit route through Arbiter Pay or Ref Pay or some other version of electronic payment. And we're really encouraging our schools to do that, because that means that payments are going to get to you a lot quicker than they would with a hard copy check. But currently, I would say the majority of our schools do a voucher system and pay through their business office. The question about schools contracting association for all games. So I would say for the 70% of our officials that are in associations, those associations, for the most part, get contracts from the schools, and they are responsible for assigning the officials to those games. In the other 30% of the time, the officials either pool their contracts together with other officials or get them on their own through the school or through the conference. And so if you don't connect with an association, then the best way to get contests is to connect with the schools directly, particularly if it's a ninth grade game. Many of those are assigned by the school. Even in sports where the associations cover the assignments, they might be just covering the varsity and say the JV, but the 10th grade and the 9th grade might be covered by the school. So that's another opportunity for you to get some more contests, is to contact schools directly and let them know that you'd like to be considered for their 9th grade or 10th grade games. I think that's most of the questions, I believe, Laura. So
I think so too. And again, contact information is available on both the MYAS website for Carolyn and Tony, and as well as the league on the league's website. So please reach out as you have questions. Anything else, Jason, Carol, and Tony?
2 more questions on there from TAC.
I have a question also.
Yeah, go ahead. And then I can answer these 2 questions.
Okay, sorry, I'm driving, which is why I'm not
No problem. Drive safe.
that. So doing good for kids. And so I was late sending out the slides, or is there a recording? I'm in for officiating.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I've got all my T's crossed and I's dotted.
Yep, no problem. So yes, we did record this. So we'll share this with everybody who registered for this, and then with our association leadership. And then I would just recommend that you call the league's office, and we can help you get started with whatever questions that you have.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet. There's a question about 1099. So you need, as officials, we need to report all of our income, even though it may be in the form of a check or cash or whatever it happens to be. Typically not cash. That'd be great. But they don't do that much anymore. But we need to report all of our income, and then you will get a 1099 either from a single school if you make more than $600, or from Arbiter if you make more than $600 collectively from all of the entities that pay via Arbiter. So that's how that would work. And then from a rate of pay, we've never listed rates of pay for the whole state, just because it varies so much all over the place, whether it's mileage or what the game fee is, or if there's a per diem or meals or whatever it happens to be. So because it varies so much, we haven't published that out there. But if you work for an association or get games through an association, they would be able to tell you, what the rate of pay is, depending on what part of the state you're working or what sport it happens to be. So they'd be able to assist you with that. If you're getting contests through the school, you would work with them on what that rate of pay would be, depending on the sport and the level. So that's how the pay would work. All right. Well, again, like I said earlier, if you have any questions at all as you're going through preparations for the year, call the league, call MYS, call a veteran official if you know them. We're all happy to help you get started. And we look forward to seeing you out there this year. So thanks to all of you. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon.